Hi, welcome to Take 5, where we daily consider devotional thoughts from Oswald Chambers' book, My Utmost for His Highest. Today is April 10th, and the title of today's devotional is Complete and Effective Decision About Sin. Knowing this, that our old self was crucified with Him in order that our body of sin might be done away with, so that we would no longer be slaves to sin. Romans 6 and verse 6. Dr. Chambers asks, have you made the following decision about sin, that it must be completely killed in you? It takes a long time to come to that point of making a complete and effective decision about sin. It is, however, the greatest moment of your life once you decide that sin must die in you, not simply be restrained or suppressed or counteracted, but crucified just as Jesus Christ died for the sin of the world. There are other subjects which we could speak more familiarly with regarding a complete annihilation within ourselves that we have experienced. Perhaps there was an unhealthy relationship with someone with which we were involved, or a habit such as smoking or drugs or telling lies or gossip. Perhaps it was pornography or adultery or some other act of immorality. All of these would fall beneath the headings of personal sin, but they aren't the act of they are acts of sin, but they're not the greater topic of declaring a hatred for the attitude of being accepting of sin. We show acceptance of sin when our eyes come across behavior that is not glorifying to God, yet we don't turn aside. We don't shut our ears. Instead, we give it full attention and participation. O.C. urges his readers, pull yourself up, take some time alone with God, and make this important decision, saying, Lord, identify me with your death until I know that sin is dead in me. Make the moral decision that sin in you must be put to death. A fitting question here would be if you have ever considered the idea of truly wanting to give up sin. Dr. Chambers writes, this was not some divine future expectation on the part of Paul, but it was a very radical and definite experience in his life. Are you prepared to let the Spirit of God search you until you know what the level and nature of sin is in your life, to see the very things that struggle against God's Spirit in you? If so, will you then agree with God's verdict on the nature of sin, that it should be identified with the death of Jesus? You cannot reckon yourselves as dead indeed to sin, Romans 6:11, unless you have radically dealt with the issue of your will before God. Have you agreed with God's verdict on sin, that it separates us from Him and creates unholiness within us? Chambers asks, have you entered into the glorious privilege of being crucified with Christ until all that remains in your flesh and blood is His life? I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives within me. Galatians 2 and verse 20. I simply inquire of you, and have you begun wanting to hate sin and be separated from it, to desire to be holy as He is holy? Start somewhere. Begin at least in the reshaping of your attitude. Seek in having the mind of Christ about life. Ask God to help you to hate sin. Ask Him to begin a work of cleansing within you from habits which are unacceptable in the life of one of His children. Begin today and continue from here out. If you haven't yet read today's devotional from Dr. Chambers' book, I encourage you to do so, for it will enhance the time that we spend together. It's available free online. Please below share any comments or questions that you have over today's study, and please share prayer requests as well. And now may God's grace and peace be ours as we seek to live our life, and now may God's grace and peace be ours as we seek to live our utmost for His highest. Pardon me for the bobble. Hey, have a great day. Thanks for being here today. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye now.